Order for teachers for good news na John Dramani Mahama or dia ko ma teachers for John Dramani Mahama the good news kese pa ba dia ko ma teachers for order for good news we the pa enche teachers for no obia ba benya onankasa ne dan obetumi ni say sine boaka say adan we the John Dramani Mahama na daroma na mesumenya dan order for good news kese pa John Dramani Mahama or dia ba Ediama teachers for no order for say one cast out dream one on tears or for my uncle name could tears good news we every John Dramani Mahama na catch Jubilee House for near Mercia.
The other that we spoke about before the election was that we wanted to collaborate with funds like the Teachers Fund so that governments can also make a counterpart funding and add it to what the teachers have. And then you can have your members apply for housing. We'll sit with you, do the designs together, make them, in Ghana today when you say affordable housing, it ends up being, more for the wealthy than for the poor. And so I call it low-cost housing. Achampo used to call it low-cost housing, and they build so many of them all across the length and breadth of this country. So if we can make provision in the budget for a fund that will be a counterpart fund to the Teachers Fund, then teachers can apply to own their own homes. And so we would go in and build it for them. And if they have a working life of, say, 15 to 20 years, it is possible to deduct, monthly from their salaries, so that by the time they are ready to go on retirement, they own the house and they don't have to go. They don't have to go and quarrel with their families about whose grandmother's room was this. It was my grandmother who built this room and all that. We believe that they should be able to retire in dignity. And so it's something that the Minister of Education will take up with you so that we design it. And then maybe from beginning of 2026, when we come for your big meeting, we should be able to announce something big for teachers to celebrate about.
Order for old say teachers for attach or Martin, then they say yes, teachers for rented apartment or mother rented apartment who such John Dramani Mahama say teachers for old say or the good news case upon every teachers for. Or say enche teachers for no biaba beye landowners of their own. Just say biaba beye landlady and landlord. Just a good news question pa John Dramani Mahama wasanye de call their teachers for me so me in na bro. Or say sa insem no na ekoso na chese dabi this year and teachers for the year say obey apply na government na buy ne sumu omusumu wi na chese omusi wankasa wo dan ama na this year and enche wo so be landlord and as a landlady or for when a good news John Dramani Mahama wasanye gu social media na so Jubilee House so dia ko dem teachers for me so meje ni nyina brel ewo Ghanatube for
the other that we spoke about before the election was that we wanted to collaborate with funds like the Teachers Fund so that governments can also make a counterpart funding and add it to what the teachers have. And then you can have your members apply for housing. We'll sit with you, do the designs together, make them, in Ghana today when you say affordable housing, it ends up being, more for the wealthy than for the poor.
Order for John Dramani Mahama or see we the friend affordable housing or say affordable housing we the call the teachers for nyina just obi abetumi
front end with several issues
so betumi ba be landlord ne landlady Ghana see teachers for order for attach teachers for Martin then order for when nsema John Dramani Mahama wasane egu social media na so am so be ni nyina bro good news kese pa e call the teachers for na me so be ni nyina bro Ghana to for my enko na yenko to ansem no so emragisia
with several issues. We took over, confronted with several issues, but we were under no illusion what the problems of Ghana were. And so we came prepared to make the sacrifices to tackle any challenges that we were facing. One of the major issues was the issue of democracy and governance. We've been practicing this democracy since 1992. And in 1992, when we adopted the constitution, there was a lot of excitement. There was people were happy that finally we were leaving the turbulence of unconstitutional rule and coming into a democracy. And we all believe that the dividends of democracy will see transformation in our lives and prosperity. Several years on, if you looked at most of the opinion polls that were run, especially Afrobarometer, it was clear from those polls that the confidence of our people in our governance and democracy was waning. And indeed, in one of the surveys they did, there was a very good, significant majority of people, up from previously, who were prepared to go back to military dictatorship as a preferred option to democratic governance. And so during the campaign, one of the things I said was that this probably is our last opportunity to restore the faith of our people in democratic governance. And that if we don't get it right this time, I'm sure that something untoward could happen, either civil unrest, and civil unrest is even worse than a military coup, because when the people lose faith and they decide to make the country ungovernable, it can be a worse option. And so we came with no illusions what the people of Ghana wanted us to do. And we have started doing that to restore confidence in our governance and democracy. And that's why I set up the National Constitutional Review Committee to look at the 1992 Constitution again and bring all the source documents from Professor Mills's committee, the Fiajo Committee, and then the Chairman Sabonsu one, which President Nana Akufo-Addo put together, including the white paper that was issued on the Fiajo Committee and the recommendations of the Constitutional Review Implementation Committee, to bring all together and do one more validation to see what our people expect to see in their constitution in order that it becomes a living document for us.
Order for John Dramani Mahama or say, we the last time just say Ghana for between your omujidie na omotumia actual democracy so either say back to military regime no and I say democracy na nka say yes say this is the last time Ghana for benya gidie efi John Dramani Mahama ene NDC for aban mu concerning democratic rule and I say military regime and I say military rule. And no John Dramani Mahama see ni abri no or the good news pan or their comma teachers for am so beginning in abrel Ghanatube sort of for where good news case here John Dramani Mahama wasanye go social media and so they come teachers for you say and teachers for no ubia ba benya ni fee ube apply ni atete won kakran se na be ya by the time ube retirement and so ba pension na chese won so ba be landlady and say landlord or for when breaking news case here John Dramani Mahama wasanye am so beginning na brel e wo Ghana to see ade me de munya be see makra munya me da munya